Hello, Pro Wrestling World. This is your boy Jamal, also known as JB. Wanted to give you guys a fans experience and fans perspective of AEW's recent summer tour that took place in Arlington, Texas over this last month and a half. I've been a fan of wrestling off and on for about 20 total years, so I'm not this aficionado, but I know a little bit about the business. But wanted to give some truth to what I experienced at All Elite Wrestling's events that took place here in Dallas, Texas. Overall, what I see it on AEW when I look at the social sites, it's a lot of unwarranted negativity, a lot of unfavorable criticisms, and I wanted to give my honest take. AEW has things to work on, but they are headed in the right direction. So I'll break down. I went out of like 4 out of 5 shows, and so I want to break down the 4 shows I did go to. I thought it was a great move by Tony Khan to test the waters of Texas and Arlington, Texas in particular, because Arlington, Texas sports scene is probably one of the top 2 or 3 sports complex cities in the entire country. You got the Rangers, both Ranger stadiums. You got the old Ranger Stadium, the new Ranger Stadium that's now a retractable roof. Texas natives can tell you, man, it was tough going to the old Ranger games because go in the summer, man, you'll just burn up. But now they got the retractable roof where they can cover it, more AC control, which the fans will have a little bit more better experience. And then you got where the Dallas Cowboys play, and then you got the esports stadium, and you also got Texas Live. But AEW took place in the esports stadium in Arlington, Texas. Nice venue, man. Perfect setup for AEW Collision because it's a smaller show compared to AEW Dynamite, and them being there in that venue, man, it was an excellent experience. Second to none. Any fan that you probably would stop on the way out would tell you they had a wonderful time. So I went there with my cousin, and let's just kind of break down all of the shows that took place. So AEW's first show, they kicked off July the 20th, and great opening show. Me and my cousin, we got seats. I think it was like in the B section, so we were about 4 seats away from the ring entrance where the wrestlers walk down the ramp and go into the ring. And so it was about 6 matches. Darby Allin, he wrestled Beast Mortos. Now, I've never knew anything about Beast Mortos before that night, and the guys delivered. Beast Mortos is a powerhouse lucha libre wrestler, man. This dude is big, has power move sets, and he can fly and flip with the best of them. So he was one of the MVPs of this series, and Tony rewarded him for his good work because Beast Mortos he pinned Mark Briscoe, right, in a match, like a tag match, I think. And then he was featured on AEW Dynamite, the flagship show, that he had some features on AEW Rampage. There was also a hologram, one of the newest wrestlers of Lucha Libre that's on AEW. He debuted there. He was absolutely sensational. He had the crowd on its feet, man. He delivered. Tony Khan hit a home run with him. We also got the chance to see the rivalry between Thunder Rosa and Diana, the Virtuosa. They delivered an excellent match. It was a lumberjack match. So you had some girls from AEW and the Ring of Honor that were surrounding the ring to support the match. It was a really, really good match. Then we also had the Bang Bang Gang go up against the Patriarchy, Christian Cage's faction. So Christian Cage won the trio championship. So that was cool to see because, I watched Christian when I was a kid, when he was with the Brood, with Edge and Gangrel. So it's kind of cool to see him wrestle for the first time. Well, I saw him wrestle for the first time when I went to Double or Nothing, AEW Double or Nothing in Vegas in May. So I got the chance to see him wrestle Swerve, but this is the second chance I got to see him wrestle, and he won a trios championship. Then I also got a chance to see one of my favorite Japanese Joshi wrestlers in Hikaru Shida, who is the most decorated and most successful female wrestler and wrestler overall at AEW, former three-time champion, longest reigning champion of 372 days, and she's the first woman to 100 wins. And she's one of the few wrestlers at AEW to have 100 wins. She's an absolutely fantastic wrestler, full of aura, full of charisma, great in ring, great striker. Sheeta has the complete package, and I hope that Tony books her a little stronger down the road because she deserves that. She's been absolutely fantastic. But in that match, she jumped off the ring onto Sky Blue. She was wrestling Sky Blue that night, and that's when Sky Blue hurt her ankle really, really bad. At first, everybody thought it was key fab, but she legitly hurt herself, and it was a tragedy because I really like Sky Blue as well. I think she's a great wrestler, and that would have been a great match, but it got cut short. And then there was some ROH taping matches, and then when we walked out, they was offering complimentary tickets to see the ROH tapings that Sunday because this event was taking place on Saturday nights. So the second show we went to, which was the following Saturday, was a really good card too, and this was also tied into Battle of the Belts as well. It was a trios match between the Premier Athletes and the Conglomerate, which was a good match. Orange Cassidy against Johnny TV was a good match. MXM Collection, who recently, I think they left WWE and came to AEW. They had a really good showing against FTR, which is, one of the most successful tag teams in AEW and in pro wrestling world. Thunder Rosa wrestled Maya World. She made her debut. Hologram wrestled Beast Mortos, which was a banger of a match. Oh my goodness. That match absolutely delivered and stole the show. Hologram is quickly winning the crowd over, man, really after his debut, and then he really won him over with the Beast Mortos match. Leo Rush took on Bastard Pac. I think that was the main event that day, and that match delivered two brilliant wrestlers going at it, man. Leo Rush is this guy. Seeing him live, he is super fast, super quick, just an absolutely fantastic wrestler. And can't say enough about the Bastard Pack, right? Then they went into Battle of the Belts. This is the second chance I got to see Tony Storm wrestle. I saw her wrestle Serena Deeb at Double or Nothing earlier this year. She put on a fantastic match with Taya Valkyrie. Willow had a great match with Deanna the Virtuoso. That was a actual title match, I think. It wasn't an eliminator match. That was a title match. But both women delivered. Willow, the second time I saw her wrestle, I first saw her wrestle against Mercedes at Double or Nothing. But Willow's a fantastic, fantastic wrestler, and deserves everything that has been coming her way. And then the final match of that night was the Undisputed Kingdom had the ROH trio belts. They put them on the line against Dusty Rhodes and the Von Erichs, and so it was a great scene. Dusty Rhodes won his first ever title in AEW with the Von Erichs, and the Von Erichs had their father out there, man, with the Iron Claw. I mean, they're Texas guys, right? So the crowd was just absolutely supportive. They was buzzing. They gave a couple of speeches after the match. Very emotional, man. They walked around. Everybody that was left in the crowd, we serenaded them. They came out. They shook our hands. They took pictures, man. It was just a fantastic night. I missed one show. It was one show that they taped on Thursday, and it was. I live in North Dallas, so it was gonna be tough for me to get down there to Arlington during the work week. So we skipped that show, and we went to the fourth show, probably the finale of the match with Thunder Rosa and Deanna. They had a bull rope match, which was a bloody mess. But no, it was a sensational match. I think that probably ended the rivalry with Thunder Rosa winning that match. Had a great match between the Bang Bang Gang and House of Black. That's the one where Christian had the. That was one of the most creative finishes to a match because Christian obviously didn't want to fight either team going into All In, and everybody was laying out, and he was doing the count. One of the wrestlers got up, Christian speared him and did a 10 count. And it was well received online. I remember going straight to Twitter after that, and everybody was talking about how creative and how unseen that was. You normally don't see matches in like that. And so that was a very good job by Tony and the writers and Christian and those guys who came up with those ideas, man. It was a fantastic ending, right? Hologram and Darby teamed up to fight the Premier Athletes. That was always obviously a banger. You had Roosh against Preston Vance because Don Callis was telling Roosh you got to get more tougher. So, he went out there and busted him open and beat him up really bad. FTR against the Outrunners was a really, really good match. And then you had Sheeta come out and face Aaliyah James, who Sheeta dominated that match. And then she challenged Britt Baker. Was it Britt? No, she challenged Mercedes because she challenged Britt Baker after the first show with Sky Blue. She challenged Britt Baker on Dynamite. Then after this match with Aaliyah James, she challenged Mercedes Moné, who she wrestled the following Dynamite for the TBS Championship. Sheeta has been cutting absolutely amazing promos. Those two promos she cut to get those matches, man. Her obviously English is a second language, and because she does a lot of streaming and interact with English speaking fans, I think it only definitely improved her English. And she has just been cutting these emotional, riveting, captivating, believable promos. And all I wanted her to do is just continue to do that, and then just slowly get herself back into the world title picture. I think she's only had about 7 or 8 matches this year. So it's good to see her getting into her form and cutting these brilliant promos. And then the very last show we went to, which was an absolute amazing night, Dusty Rhodes and Sammy, they defeated the United Kingdom, or the Undisputed Kingdom, for the ROH Tag Team Champions, which made Dusty a 2-belt champion. And I'm telling you, it was a lot of people were like hating on it online, like, "Oh, are you giving all these belts to Dusty?" But Dusty is a living legend. The man's 55 years old. The man can still go in the ring. This is not some guy that's just moping around doing Dusty Rhodes is wrestling, and wrestling at a high level. Well deserved. And then, at some point, there's nothing wrong with them having this title reign, whether it's a couple of months, whether it's 5 or 6 months. And then, yes, there's other tag teams that should be in the running to dethrone them. But for now, it was just perfect. He's in Texas. He's from Texas. The Von Erichs are from there. Sammy's from Houston. It was just a Texas homecoming celebration, and those guys getting rewarded. Jack Perry is in action. He faced a local wrestler there, and he did his whole body bag, and he featured the new TNT Championship that night. Mariah May wasn't on the card, but she came out and had a surprise squash match where Tony Storm cut a great vignette, right? A little short film that's building the match for their All In match. So it was cool to see Mariah May there wrestling that night. FTR and the Acclaimed Oh my goodness, man. I remember sitting there with my cousin and was like, and they announced the main event, and we both looked at our watches and was like, "Are these guys?" This was at like 8:24, and we was like, "Are these guys finna legit wrestle for 30 minutes?" And you know what? They wrestled for 30 minutes. It was an absolute banger. The crowds were invested. The crowd was evenly divided. You had FTR, you had the acclaimed fans there, man. And it was cool seeing Billy Gunn because Billy Gunn is another wrestler I watched in the Attitude Era growing up. So it was just cool to see these wrestlers up close, man. Like for the first time, it's like, wow, that is the badass Billy Gunn of the Outlaws of D-Generation X. So it was cool to see those guys, man. It was a great match. I thought it was a great ending. So it'll set up, a triple threat match at All In. Then after that, we had some Rampage tapings, right? And so some really good Rampage matches, but the one that stole the show for me was Mina Shirakawa, who came back and wrestled one of the Renegade Twins, who is a brilliant wrestler in her own right. But let me tell you something about Mina. I was so upset with myself and my cousin because Mina actually wrestled after the collision the week prior. And she wrestled a ROH match, and then she wrestled again that following Sunday. And I didn't even know about it until afterwards. And so I'm like, Mina is one of my favorite wrestlers of in the world. She's one of the top 2 or 3 international stars right now. And I was like, oh my God, I had a chance to see Mina and I left the show too soon. So me being me, I'm a big social media junkie. So I follow her on all the social sites, and I noticed she wasn't at the announcement of All In Texas, which is another vlog I'm gonna do, by the way. That was a brilliant move by Tony Khan doing All In Arlington, Texas. That is going to be a huge success. So I was following her on the social media sites, and I was like, she wasn't at the press conference, with all the other AEW superstars when Tony was there with the mayor of Arlington, I think. And so, but I did notice that Mina was at the Rangers game on that, had it been that Wednesday, that Thursday. I was like, okay, so Mina's at the Ranger game on a Thursday. And then, I kept following her on Instagram, and she was at the Mavericks game. Not the Mavericks. She was at the Dallas Wings game on Friday, posting pictures, right? And I'm like, man, maybe she's gonna wrestle again. She's in Texas. She's still in Texas. So, um, she wrestled. Yeah, she wrestled. It was the I was getting a little discouraged, man, because the Rampage tape was going on, and I was like, man, dude, Mina's got to wrestle, right? She's got to come out, right? Because it was back to back men's matches. I was like, well, who's going to be the women wrestling? And the lady that was hosting for AEW was like, can you guys get loud for this next match? And then Mina's music hit, and everybody just jumped up, man. And Mina, seeing her up close is an absolute star, absolute it factor, and complete aura, complete charisma, great entrance, great dance routine, great in ring. Mina is a absolutely fantastic human, let alone wrestler. Mina interacts with her fans. She's interacted with me a couple of times on Twitter and on Instagram, and you just feel that connection that she genuinely likes her fans. And she put on an absolute show, and it was a complete honor to see her wrestle, man. And I'm going to try to see her wrestle a lot more because we want Mina. AEW has something with what they did with this summer series in Arlington recently. It's a it's a rich wrestling market to come to Arlington, and I would recommend Tony Khan for his Collision shows and possibly his Dynamite shows to pick these cities that's extremely supportive, and he can run tours there. Arlington, Texas, he has to come here a lot because every show I went to was either full or near capacity. The great thing about Tony Khan, all of the prices were affordable. The ticket, I mean, we got some really good seats. We were 2 rows back from the ring almost every show. And then one of the shows, we was right by the ring entrance, so it was cool to see the wrestlers, walking down. But the ticket prices were affordable. Food was affordable. Drinks were affordable. They was passing out complimentary ROH tickets. It was a fantastic, and you got more than what you paid for. You got a full collision match, and then you would get ROH tapings after the match, and then we got a Rampage taping on the final show. Superstars came there, and I miss Swerve. Swerve actually wrestled the fourth, the fifth show, I think. He wrestled Ishii, the Pitbull. So we got a chance to see both world champions in Swerve, Tony Storm. We got the chance to see Mina Shirakawa. We got the chance to see Hiraku Shida, Sky Blue, Mariah May, Willow. Like, it was just absolutely fantastic. Tony brought some of his top stars down. And then Mercedes, I didn't even tell y'all in the last event, I forgot to say this, but Britt Baker led the show, and then we got surprised with Mercedes. I can't believe I forgot about Mercedes and Camille making a surprise appearance to beat up Britt Baker, who opened the show. And Mercedes is another one of my favorite wrestlers as well. And Camille, I became an instant fan when she debuted on AEW. I know she had a great career in NWA. I think she had like a 2-year dominant championship run there. But I was kind of stalking Mercedes on social media too, because I knew she was in Texas as well. And I was like, well, maybe she'll make an appearance too, right? So lo and behold, when I saw Britt Baker get advertised for the match, I was like, they got to come out here and probably beat her up or something. And that's exactly what they did. So it was great seeing Mercedes, Camille, Swerve, Tony, Mariah, Mina, Sheeta, Sky Blue, Ishii, Dusty Rose, Von Erichs, Tony Storm. It was just absolutely fantastic. Tony put on a great show. Like I said, it was super affordable. The seats were great. He should really consider this as a business model for Collision and possibly Dynamite. Pick about 4 or 5 cities, Tony Khan, and just run a 2 month or a month and a half tour there, and it's gonna be a success. Arlington was perfect, man. The venue was just insanely perfect. Like, the crowd, the intimacy with with the fans and the wrestlers, the energy, the feeding the wrestlers during the match was just chants. I mean, I felt like I was at a college prep rally. It was absolutely fantastic. Tony Khan came out multiple times and greeted the fans. Like I said, you got more than what you paid for, because you got about 5 hour, almost 5 to 6 hours worth of wrestling for the prices that they charged us, which was like, it was just simply amazing. Like I said, Tony need to really consider this in the future. He should really consider running month and a half shows, one city, nice intimate setting, sell it out, continue to build your fan base, right? So I highly, highly suggest Tony Khan and AEW do that. It was an absolute success what they did in Arlington, guys. I can't say it enough. And AEW's All in Texas at Global Life Stadium or Field is going to be incredible. It's going to do wonders for AEW. I can feel it. I'm going to get it my ticket. I'm going to pay for whatever media I got to pay to meet the stars. I may even take a week of PTO off just to immerse myself in all of the festivities that's going on at All In next year. I did that for WWE when I went to WrestleMania this year for WrestleMania 40. Participated in all the events leading up to and after, and it's just a great thing to do. So just budget your money. Whatever you need to do is a great investment to do that. But AEW Summer Series again was absolutely, absolutely, absolutely fantastic. Some of my small or some of my overall critiques of AEW, because I don't want to sit up here and paint this rosy picture, right? There's some improvements, some development opportunities. Like I said, I went to, first, let me back up. I've been a wrestling fan for off and on for over 20 years. At the time AEW came to be, which was 2019, I was not watching WWE or AEW. I wasn't watching any wrestling at the time. I think I just had a lot of stuff going on in my life. I was trying to get my photography business. I'm a videographer, trying to get that off the ground. So I really wasn't watching a lot of TV at all. And so I didn't really become like an AEW fan until like maybe like end of 2022, 2023. And even then, I really wasn't watching it closely, right? I was kind of like wrapped into the Roman Reigns bloodline story on WWE. And so I think towards middle of 2023, I started watching, I was watching ABW, but I started watching it religiously from like 2023 on to currently. And I want to say I absolutely love the product. I love Tony Khan. I love the wrestlers. I love the production. I love where it's headed. Obviously, we got to improve. AEW has to improve in viewership on TV, obviously. Um, so basically, we just got to, they have to grow the product beyond the casual fan base and to appeal to the larger pro wrestling audience, right? And then win back some people that may have strayed away, right? Got to get creative in that regard. Um, Another criticism would be, or development opportunity would be, is to continue to develop the women's division. I think Mercedes Moné joining the roster, and this is documented in the locker room. Willow gave a great interview about this, but she elevated that division, right? You giving women leading off matches. I think her and Willow had the longest match at at AEW Double or Nothing. The longest match was like 18 minutes. The brilliant match she had with Stephanie Valcour at Forbidden Door. They're leading off Dynamite and Collision. Women are now, so continue to grow the women's division. Women need more TV time, right? And longer matches, and I think Tony's heading in that direction. Um, like I said, the viewership has to increase, right? Um, it was a big criticism of AEW not having stories. Well, they laid it the rest of this year. The lead up, the story building, the storytelling leading up to All In has been absolutely fantastic. That criticism needs to be laid to rest, okay? There's a couple other little things. I would like for AEW to get a little bit better with their live event merchandise. It was very limited, and then it didn't have a whole lot of wrestler specific items. Like you want to have your top card product there, right? I mean, it's good to have the live event stuff to say, "Hey, I was there," but you want to have a little bit more like Swerve, Mercedes, um, Sheeta, MJF, Will Ospreay. You want to have a little bit more of that merch, and then have a lot of product there that's popular. Like so, medium t-shirts and large t-shirts are the most popular sizes, right? And I feel like all of those shirts just evaporated before I could even get to the shirts I wanted. So it'd be nice if they just, improve the stock and improve the overall variety of the live merch that's at these events, right? And that's when I was at Double or Nothing and when I was at the Collision series that was here in Arlington. Um, then I would say I understand that they do print to order on their online shopping, but man, it takes forever. So it's like it's 7 to 10 days to print, then another 7 to 10 days to ship. They put it on the slowest postal service available. So it takes you almost 20 days to get product offline. Like if you want t-shirts. I know that sounds petty, but I just need my stuff a little bit quicker, man. But overall, it's great, man. They have great product online. And then I would say the only other issue I got is not issue, just a development opportunity is AEW has to strengthen their media output and their content output, right? It'd be cool, and I think Tony's doing some announcements that they get aligned with a streaming service because I missed the first 2.5, 3 years of AEW's existence. So, like WWE, it'd be great to go and watch a repository of matches so I can relive what was going on in AEW at that time, right? So to have a library of matches and organize it by wrestlers or by pay-per-view would be great. And then I would say continue to pump media through Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook, and also announce your Collision and your Rampage matches sooner. Well, I think Tony does a pretty good job announcing the Rampage matches after Dynamite, but the Collision matches are getting announced the Friday night of Rampage. So if you want to, if AEW is an event and they say, hey, I want to look at the card, say I want to go to Collision, you won't even know the card until the night before, right? So it's like, it'd be cool that he would at least announce some Collision matches a little sooner, than like a couple of days or something. But overall, I love AEW, man. I quickly became a fan of the product, of the promotion. There's a ton of wrestlers I am invested in that promotion. I really like Mercedes. I really like Camille. I really like Sheeta. If Mina makes a decision to join AEW, I like her. Whatever Mina does, I'm gonna support her. Right? I really like Swerve, Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page, Leo Rush, Hologram. So many wrestlers I like at AEW, and I'm going to continue to support AEW. And one final thing I want to say is it was an absolute pleasure, one of the highest honors, if not the highest honor, in my pro wrestling fandom. On the very last show, Tony Khan, or at the beginning of the very last show, Tony Khan says, "Hey guys," and you could tell he was like pumped up. He was like beating his chest, and it was just all this excitement going on with Tony, man. I think he really felt the vibes we was giving to him. At the end of the show, they gave a couple of speeches, Dusty Rhodes and FTR, kind of prepping for All In. And Tony Khan got out of the ring and walked towards, all of some fans, shaking hands, taking pictures. And Tony Khan walked to me and my cousin, right? And I was just happy with Tony saying, shaking my hand and, hey, thanks for coming, right? That's literally what I thought was going to happen. But Tony looked at me, and it was kind of like an awkward moment because we like looked at each other, and then he was like, "Oh, great shirt!" I had a Swerve Strickland house call shirt on, and then my cousin had a live event shirt on, and he's like, "Hey, I like your shirt." And I was like, "Man, thank you, Tony." And we shook hands, and it was like another little awkward 2 or 3 seconds. I'm thinking he's about to go and talk to the other fans. And he was like, "Well, do you guys want to take a picture?" And I was fumbling through my phone trying to get my camera right. We finally got the picture with Tony Khan, me and my cousin. And it just changed my whole outlook. Tony gets a lot of unnecessary hate online. AEW is the most scrutinized wrestling promotion in the world today. They have things they have to improve on, but the criticisms come off very in a very anger way. Like anger is in these industry vet podcasts, talking heads. It's just a lot of anger, a lot of, and then criticize, but the delivery and how you criticize is important because you come off like a hater. You come off like a tribalistic fan of another promotion, just trying to just put one down to lift your favorite promotion up. And it's not fair to AEW. They put on a fantastic product, obviously have to improve. They have to expand beyond their fan base and get to the more casual fans, right? And that's maybe pulling in fans from other genres to attend AEW events, or AEW goes out. Like one cool thing they did was with Mercedes Moné during the NBA playoffs. Mercedes would make some courtside appearances, and then I think Reggie Miller was like, "Hey, that's TBS champion Mercedes Moné. You can watch them on TBS on Wednesdays." example like that'd be great. Like get your wrestlers more out and about, maybe in events outside of wrestling, and I think that'll help bring fans of the product in, whether it's like a music artist or an actress or whatever, some public figure, kind of, work it that way to kind of bring in the popularity, right? But overall, man, meeting Tony Khan, man, this guy is so humble, so thoughtful. The man asked us to take a, do you understand? Tony Khan asked us to take a picture with him. I would never, that's one of the moments I cherish my entire life. Owner of a promotion, of a major wrestling promotion in the United States, asked us to take a picture with him. And it's great what AEW is doing, because I'm learning so much more about my pro wrestling knowledge because AEW is affiliated with New Japan, with Rev Pro, with CMLL. So I'm learning about all of these sensational talents because of AEW. I knew nothing about Stephanie Vacour, about Mina Shirakawa until I started watching AEW. And these are now become two of my most favorite wrestlers, right? So Tony Khan, keep doing what you're doing, man. Obviously, there's room for improvement, but you absolutely delivered on the Arlington series here in Dallas, Texas in summer 2024. Please come back. We're going to support you. I'm going to support Tony Khan and AEW. I'm going to try to go to maybe like one or two, maybe three more pay-per-views for this year because I want to support. And I encourage all AEW fans to do the same. And it's okay to be a pro wrestling fan. I just hope we get away from this tribalistic stuff, which I know is probably not going to completely happen, but just enjoy. It's a wrestling first promotion that their storytelling is catching up. Like they're no longer relying on in-ring talent, in-ring stars, and dream matches. Their stories being developed. So you got chances to invest in the product and in the character. Important that you invest because that's going to give me a reason to take my PTO from work and to budget my travel expenses and to pay for tickets to go to these events. You got to give me a reason to do that. And I think Tony is definitely on the right track of doing that. So again, I just want to give a fan's perspective of AEW's potential and how they hit a home run here in Arlington, Texas with the Summer Series. I think it's a business model that Tony can take and use in other cities that's supportive, and AEW can only go up. Keep bringing us the international exposure to these other brilliant wrestlers as pro wrestling fans. Keep developing stories. Keep using your roster that you have, building more feuds, and we're going to continue to support you, Tony Khan. Again, I love you, man. Thanks for bringing AEW Collision Series to Texas. Do it again, and we're going to be here for you for AEW All In Texas. Signing off.